Good afternoon, everyone. So Thursday afternoon, haven't had any videos up all week, just been on top of my head, just very busy. We're walking at hay. You seen the last video, we had quite a bit of hay down. We have 20 acres in total down at the minute, so we've had some fantastic weather all week. The hay has been doing very well. Today, Thursday, a little bit misty this morning when we got up, and dull, but still very mild and humid. That is all lifted, burnt away. We are just starting to see a little bit of blue sky starting to peep through the clouds. It is to get a bit sunnier in the afternoon. In any case, the grass is bone dry now on top. Dad's away, he started to do a little bit of the rowing. I'm going, one of the fields is a little bit behind the rest, so it needs one more tedding out. So I'm going to go and ted it out that last time. It's not going to be built tomorrow, but we might bale, we'll see. We may bale 3 of the 4 fields that we have down. We might bale 3 of them today. So yeah, busy enough afternoon ahead of us. The round baler is on the 6.9, the square baler is on the 28.50, and I'm going to ted now with the 6.4. So yeah, David Brown's away rowing, so all tractors have more or less gone implement on them, and all have a little bit of work to do. So we get to the field. We're also going to have a little look at the Malone tedder. 3 years in, one of the most asked about machines that I've have on the farm. I always get lots of questions about it, so going to be going through the good points and bad points of it 3 years in, and we'll see what it's like. So let's get to the field. Alright, so we're over halfway through this field, and it's tedding off much better than yesterday. Yesterday, as we were tedding it, there was just green pieces tedding up from underneath in places, and it's not what you want it to be. On the final tedding, I always like to see it that there's basically no green bits turning up. It's more or less all hay, and that's what we're seeing now. 1 or 2, I think I've seen 2 like small green bits in it. They're now sitting on the top. They'll dry out lovely, so it's perfect now for a final tedding. This is how I like to see the hay. It just means then that tomorrow morning, if it's anyway decent morning, we can get this road up early enough, and then leave it for a number of hours, just sitting in the windrows, and then go ahead and bale it. Perfect, couldn't be better. Yeah, so well on. I'll be finished here in about, I suppose, 10 minutes or so, not even. And as soon as I'm finished, we'll pull up. We'll get out and we're going to have a little look through the Malone tedder. Alright, so we're just finished and sun is just coming out there nicely, which is kind of what you want to see. What we're going to do is now we're going to have a little look at the Malone tedder. We've had it now for 3 years. This is season number 3. We're about halfway through the hay season, I suppose. We're a little over halfway through at this point, and I think we can give it a good review, if you like. And tell you some of the issues or things that we've had with it at this point. We haven't had many issues there, but we'll talk about those in a few minutes. Firstly, why did I buy the Malone? The Malone wasn't my first choice, I have to admit. At the very start I wanted to buy a Lely, but the Lely, they'd quit making them, so that was an issue. You couldn't get them. I think Massey had bought over Lely Welger at that point, and yeah, they just were gone. That was it. You couldn't get any new ones, so kind of snookered us down a little bit on what you could purchase. The next one I was kind of half thinking of was Crone. That was next on the list, but I didn't like the tine setup on the Crone, plus the frame looked a little bit on the weaker side compared to this machine here. So there was also Cavernaland. I didn't really like the Cavernaland, and yeah, so we ended up then, I seen him alone, and we purchased it. So just everything ticked the boxes with the Malone. So as I mentioned, strong frame on it, super strong built. They will take a bit of abuse if you're walking in rougher ground, which sometimes you can do. You want something that's going to last in those kind of conditions, and it will do. So really liked the frame on it, really liked how strong that they were and how well they were built that way. So that was a huge selling point. A couple of other features which I really liked was the balloon wheels, which I'm sure is probably on most of them, or you can get them on most of them. There also is a spare one, so if anything happens, you get a puncture. You're not going to be held up for very long. You can swap it over quite easily and away you go. I suppose, not to just talk about everything that you like, or that I like on it, talk about some of the things I don't like. I would like to have a power down on it. So when you're letting the machine down, you kind of have to sit and wait, and you're relying on the weight of the rotor to pull it down, and it's quite slow. It is quite slow. So I would probably like to have a power down where it would come down slowly or a wee bit faster, just on the hydraulics. It's only a minor thing, but it's something that I would like. Lifting up, because straight up, very very easy and fast to put into to put into the transport position. Another thing that I really like on them is that they have got the hook tines on them, which again is similar to what the Lely has. The hook tine, for anyone, just get a wee bit of hay, and we'll just throw it there in front of the machine. You'll kind of see how it lifts it. Now, when you set it, I set it up more or less that the tine is just running on the ground, or just slightly above the ground, that it's not kicking up any clay. And when you do that, when it comes across, see the way it catches and lifts and takes the grass with it. Now obviously it's not moving at full walking speed, so it's not taking it with it completely, but it comes along, grabs the grass or material, and fires it out behind it. So simple setup. You see here, there's one of them that's broke. In the 3 years I've broke two tines. This is the second one here. It broke yesterday on me. I just didn't change it yet. So and how it broke was, it had bent before. A couple of them has bent before, again working in maybe bumpier conditions, and it catches in the ground. You'll see the way the spring is bent a wee bit on that one. This one was the same, and I just went to pull it up and it just snapped. Half of it's in the cab of the tractor. So that's only the second time that we've ever broken on it. But yeah, hook tine's a great job. Another benefit of the hook tine is, if you have a bad year where, like the last year, where we didn't get dry weather to make the hay until a bit later on, the grass was matted together. The hook tines, when they come here in the middle, they'll actually pull the matted grass apart. So yeah, it's constantly, when you tell it a few times, it'll pull it apart as it dries. So super job that. A very easy locking system for transport. You can actually lift up the two outer reels. They come up, you see the bit, there's a little triangle here cut into this. Well, when you lift this up, it goes in and stops. It stops there, and it just allows your outer rotor then to come up and be sitting on nearly a 45-degree angle. So if you wanted to miss something on the outside, you could do that and still use your two inner rotors to continue to TED. And then just to get into the transport position, then you just pull that back fully, and it then misses this little point, and it comes back in and it slots in here for transport position. So again, fairly simple setup. LED lights on it as well, which is very good. A feature that they have changed on the later ones was the stand here at the back rattled a lot, just with the way it's designed. We actually put a couple of cable ties on it just to hold it in place, and it stopped it from vibrating and rattling. But the later ones now, I see they have a pin through it, and it just rises straight up through a little bracket that they've made on it, and it doesn't fold up like this one here. So it's a much better system, and would be less vibrating and rattling with that. Machine itself, maintenance wise, very easy to maintain. All the grease nipples are very easy to get at, easy access. You can grease the whole machine in a couple of minutes, which is also something that you want. You want to have something that's easy, that you don't have to lie down on the ground and get in under things. It's very easy to maintain it, so that's another plus. The only real issue that we had with it was, do you see these little outer brackets that holds on the safety guard? See them there now? The bolts in those broke a couple of times in the previous ones, and we got on to Malone and they made up this here. It's just made out of slightly heavier steel and a lot stronger. Now it hasn't broken since, but yeah, we'll just see. It's only on this season, so we'll just have to see how it gets on. Hopefully it cures that issue. It used to actually snap the bolt here in the top of this housing, so yeah, used to drill it and take it out. We'll do that a couple of times with it until they made up these larger brackets, and yeah, so we'll see how that works out. But other than that, we've had absolutely no issues with it. It's probably the machine gets the most questions on the farm. I know many of them at this stage that I've questions that I've answered or gotten back to people about. I'd say at least 100 people, and I would say somewhere between 15 and 20 at this stage have gotten back on to me and thanked me for the help and sent me pictures of their new Malone tedders. Yeah, so at this stage I kind of feel like I'm a bit of a Malone salesman, but not reaping any of the benefits of that. Another thing about these machines is that they are quite heavy. 2850 handles it no problem, but on hilly ground you lift it, it knows it's on it. With no weights on it, it can lift the wheels off the ground a little bit in places, you know, kind of if it's bumpy. But look, at nothing that you wouldn't be able to handle. But a smaller tractor now, 2-wheel drive, it just might struggle a little bit with it. But other than that, no issues. I kind of wish I had bought a 6-rotor. 6-rotor just get through the work a bit quicker, and especially using it on larger tractors, like 3650, I would hope we'll be doing a lot of the tedding work once we have it all done. And yeah, the 6-rotor would look super on it, but I'm not going to be changing it anytime soon. So that's a review of the Malone Tedder. I hope you enjoyed that, anyone who was looking for it. Going to head back to the yard now, hopefully get some baling done today, and yeah, see how we get on. Okay, so voiceover time. Now, my voice is acting up the last few days. I've had a bit of I don't know whether it's a cold or a flu or what I've had over the last 3 or 4 days. Could be related to being in the air-conditioned tractor. We've had some great hot weather. Spent a lot of time tedding and doing tractor work. A lot of air conditioning on, and I think it's related to that and the dust. So yeah, the last couple of days I've had sore throat and the voice has started to go a little bit. So the voice may not last that long on this voiceover, but we'll see how far we get. What would be a haymaking video without some David Brown footage? And yeah, this is the David Brown's job. It rose up all the hay, and some fine hay that it was too. Never got a drop of rain. This particular field here was cut on Sunday, baled up on Friday evening, and was in absolutely perfect condition, as was the rest of it. It was 2 fields baled up on Friday, 2 fields baled up on Thursday, and yeah, couldn't have been better. This was the best weather we had so far this year. Perfect haymaking weather, and super. Yeah, great to get it done. Should we have cut all the hay? Possibly so, but the forecast wasn't 100% that it was going to be good the whole way through the week. It was showing that it could get unsettled towards the end of the week, so we did take a little bit of a chance on cutting what we did, and it paid off. So with hindsight, yes, we should have cut it all, but at the time it was a little bit of a gamble. So yeah, we're happy to have what we have.
Alright, so on to the square baling, and so we always make some square bales every year for some customers, and this is a field that we regularly use. It's close to a main road and good access in and out to it. So just baling away here. We baled up about 600 bales in total in this field, and I done a section of it, just the rounds around it. I took them out of it with the round baler and strip up the middle of it, just to leave a bit of room for the square baler to turn. We will make more square bales in the later plot of hay that has to be done, so it won't be the last of the square baling of hay, hopefully, if we get the weather. So but yeah, 2850 looking well, working well. Square baler, never threw a loose one out, 100% working perfect, and the bale stay working well too. There can be little troublesome, those bale stays, especially if the hay isn't 110% fit. You can have a little bit of an issue with them bale stays. Bales can stick together, jam them up, and when all that starts happening, it's an absolute nightmare. But I have to say, couldn't have worked out any better. And always nice to see the square baler working. I did get a little bit more footage than the last time of just with the GoPro, and some sounds of the 2850 driving the baler and all that as well. Some requests for that, so hope you enjoyed that. Also in this part of the video you can see a customer, they're collecting some square bales. Peter, who's also a fencing contractor, you can see him there, he has his Landini with him, post knocker on the back, and trailer then that he uses for carrying his bits and pieces. He was filling that up. You'll also see me loading up a flat trailer as well from a little later in the video. But I'm going to add a bit of music in now, and we'll see you a bit later in the video. So we're throwing in the square bales last night. After loading up most of them for customers, and there was a couple of 100 bales left, and said, right, okay, go get the low loader. Dad went to get the low loader. 4 rows probably in around, done and dusted, everything out of the field. Waiting for the 6-9, myself and Peter waited in the field, waiting for the 6-9. Thought I could hear David Brown in the distance, and it gets closer. You know the way they only do 15 mile an hour, so it's getting closer, louder. That sounds like David Brown. Who's David Brown? I wasn't expecting it to be ours. Here's David Brown crossing the bridge in the distance and makes its way over and into the field. Put the load on it. Tyres wouldn't be great in this trailer. It's quite old. And put the load on. As soon as it got back out on the concrete, it started hobbling, and that was it. But made it home, in fairness. Tyres lasted and made it home. Well, lasted isn't the word. It just didn't disintegrate away. Made it home, so not too bad. So this morning we come to the yard. Dad says, just before we pull up the place, this trailer, it's been on the farm here for more than 50 years. I said, by the looks of the tyres, they've been here every bit as long. In fairness to the trailer, super little trailer. It is here more than 50 years. Was formerly on a little lorry. There was a few modifications made to it down through the years. The axle was moved back. You can see it used to be here at the front, and it was too far forward. So it was, I can remember it being moved back, and the whole body of it is all it's all aluminium, so it won't rust. Now the frame down here, the bit of frame that was put into the front of it for the drawbar is all steel, and this here was also lengthened. Then it was very short. It was fine when it was on smaller tractors, but then when the tractors got a little bit bigger, if you went to turn it all, lock it round, it was catching and all this kind of stuff here, so the wheels, and causing some issues. So lengthen the drawbar just means you can stick it on one of the bigger tractors, and still have to be careful, but it's just not as prone to catching. But it's a super little trailer, and we actually have a new axle for it, which we're going to stick into it, because it's very handy for a lot of jobs. Even you're only doing a bit of fencing, or want to move something around, you can pop it on the David Brown, throw whatever you want on it, and you can take it, and you can even park it in the field or leave it there, you know. So useful little trailer. But yeah, tyres give up. Said enough was enough, and yeah, the drama. So we're done and dusted with the hay for the minute. Beat the rain anyway. Some rain coming, supposedly some rain coming tomorrow, over the weekend, and there it is next week. So great to have all this done. We're way ahead of where we were last year. This time last year we had very little hay saved, and the weather was really a battle the whole way through last year. So great now. We've had a couple of good weeks now over the last, well, about 3 weeks, and we've 2/3 of the hay is now done. We've 20 acres left to do, and with a bit of luck we'll get another dry week in the next 2-3 weeks, and we'll be all wrapped up with it. So that's perfect. That's the way you want to see it happening. Yeah, the hay itself, absolutely perfect, lovely green. Still class this as June hay, seeing as it was mowed down at the end of June and baled, which is what is today, the 2nd of June, or 2nd of July, sorry. So yeah, lovely hay, and done this field done fairly well. They done around 13 bales to the acre. The last field we done that I baled earlier, it didn't do just as well. It was just around 10 bales to the acre, but with the bad growing season, I expect crops to be a little bit back on what they were. It is quite windy, so great drying today, even though there wasn't much sunshine. Great drying, and yeah, just grass is perfect, couldn't be any better. That's really it. Now, this is the only video I have up this week. You can hear my voice, struggling with it all week. I don't know what, maybe it's laryngitis or something I have, but yeah, struggling with it all week, so trying to keep the talking to a minimum, and yeah, maybe that's no harm. So that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit the sub button, leave a like in the video, comment down below, all that stuff. You know it at this stage. Try and do it if you can. Alright, see you in the next one. Take care.
I just realized I've built walls a mile high to protect my heart, but now I'm all alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been too scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I am strong. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Just watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? Castle. If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Castle. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? Castle. If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? I criticized myself for trusting lies. I know I can't